Hello, everyone. Welcome to Beyond Life Paranormal Podcast. I'm your host, Russell Reynolds, and we're coming to you on a Sunday night from our regular Saturday. We were on an investigation last night with our good friend Kent Wilson from Ken 10 Paranormal and Bluff City Paranormal. We were at the Glen House last night. Pretty awesome place, awesome investigation. I want to thank Kent for inviting us and letting us be a part of his birthday investigation. We had pretty good activity last night. A lot of hits on the Estes method and the XLS camera, and so it was all in all pretty good investigation. I also want to say thank you to Christy, who runs the Glen House, for letting us come there and actually investigate. So before we get into the show and introduce our guest, we have a little info on our event that Eclipse Paranormal is putting on, and the date had been switched from April to May 9th now in Ohio at Mortuary Manor due to some booking issues with the venue. So the new date is May 9th on Mother's Day. So what perfect day. You can bring your mother out for a paranormal investigation. If it's her first one, she may have fun. Get your tickets. There's general admission tickets that are pretty cheap if you want to go at your own pace. If you want VIP tickets to investigate with my dad and I, the family of the Warrens, which you'll get more of an experience investigation and a lot of knowledge and stuff like that. Even if you're a beginner in the field, get your VIP tickets, come investigate with us. Get them fast because they will sell out quick. So with that being said, we hope to see you all there. We're going to get into the show. My guest tonight, he is a paranormal investigator, podcaster. He's also on Paraflix TV. His team is Teps Investigates, and I met him at Rock Island Paracon last year, and we've been trying to get him on the show for a little while, but you know how us paranormal investigators, our schedules are nuts, so you never know where we're going to be. So without further ado, we're going to bring on my guest, Josh Morris from Teps Investigates.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. Hey, Josh, welcome to the show.
Yeah, hey, it's good to be here.
I was glad to have you finally. And I know your schedule's been crazy. My schedule's nuts, and that's what we do.
Oh yeah. I mean, and that's the thing, I work like a couple jobs and do the investigating and everything. So it's almost like three jobs because investigating doesn't pay really. It costs.
Right.
It costs more than you make. So yeah, schedules can get really crazy between work, investigating, and
Yep.
podcasts.
Yep. I do the same thing. I work a full-time job and then my own podcast. And plus, I'm out investigating a lot of residential cases and helping people. So it gets a lot of people say, I don't know how you have time to sleep.
Yeah, I know the feeling.
But what got you started into the paranormal? Was it something from a childhood experience, or?
I mean, I had experiences as a child, probably like many people, and I think what helped was that I grew up with my grandparents, and when things happened, we all experienced them together. And they wouldn't act scared. They wouldn't, you know, their reaction was very calm and sort of like, "Hey, it's a part of life," kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I mean, it was still a little creepy to them to a point, but nothing like that it passed on as a child. If anything, it was just more curious and like, wait a minute, there's things, beyond life. So, and then just, I think, I don't know, about probably 30 years ago or so when I was a teenager, uh, I had started to go out to cemeteries and start to investigate with my friends, and with just flashlights and
Right.
disregard of trespassing signs, which I do not advise. So, but yeah, I mean, and then after a while, we got later on in the early 2000s. I decided to start a team at the time with the woman I was with, and we had started a team, but so then by chance, by luck, I ran into somebody, and next thing you know, my team was doing the preliminary investigations for the new ghost hunting show, Ghost Hunters. And of course, the reality show blew up. And
Mm-hmm.
um, so I got to do some of the preliminary cases, the very beginning in a way. And then I just did a ton of residentials and investigations over the years. Uh, then I got into the social media aspect about 8 years ago. Started doing my own podcast, and then did a book, did a TV series, book, original series, just a little bit of everything. After a while, so now I dabble in a little bit of everything.
Sound like me, pretty much dabbling into a little bit of everything. So, what would you say, like back when you started investigating? How do you think the field has changed since you started?
Uh, a lot. I mean, before it was like in the very beginning, like you were not mainstream. Nobody knew. Like when people thought if you were a ghost hunter or a paranormal investigator or researcher, whatever you wanted to call yourself, um, people lumped you in the same category, and they kind of still do today a little bit, but
Mm-hmm.
not so much because it has gone mainstream. But in the beginning, in the early days, uh, they lumped you in with like Bigfoot, UFOs. So, and they all pretty much considered you crazies.
Right.
So that's how it was in the very, very beginning. But then as the TV shows came out, and everybody was like, it went from literally like Ghost Hunters to 33 at the peak of cable syndication, like 33 different paranormal based shows. So there was shows everywhere.
Right.
And of course, all the shows, they provide education. They explain things. People see evidence reviews. Now what they're seeing is that a reflection of reality. That's a whole different conversation.
Yeah.
But the point is that the mainstream got educated on pretty much like paranormal stuff, and it became mainstream. And so I think the first time I realized the industry was changing was when I, as a preliminary investigator for the show, for the TV show, I I went to the St. Augustine Lighthouse after Taps had been there.
Mm-hmm.
I went afterwards. I didn't do a preliminary on it. I went there afterwards. And then when I talked to management, they were like, "Well, yeah, you can investigate it tonight for $900." And I'm like, uh, excuse me. It's like I've never was asked to pay for a location
Right.
ever up to that point, and then like $900, and I'm like, no thanks. So that's when I realized that the industry was changing.
Yeah.
And it's just over the years, I think I've just seen, I think I've seen more people go from the enthusiasm of ghost hunting to more of how can I make money and how can I be known? How can I get my name out there? Like, they just really want to be kind of a celebrity slash entertainer.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah, they're not like how we were all the old school trained, and we're not out there looking for the fame and the fortune. We're out there just to document, prove the existence of life after death and help people with their paranormal issues and educate.
Well, I have dipped my toes in the water now, so I can't completely,
Right.
because now I would say I'm hypocritical if I, because I do have a show, I do entertain, I don't fake my stuff, but like, am I really seeking celebrity status? No, but I do enjoy doing the shows, um, the entertainment aspect of it, but yet I still like to do the investigations.
Yeah.
And yes, if I can make money off of appearances or
Hmm.
merchandising and things like that, by all means, that just helps fund the investigations.
Right. And plus, with you doing a show and you're doing the legit aspect of it, you're showing that you can have a legit show without having to take one little piece of evidence and milk it for what it's worth for the value of it. You're actually expanding it to where you can show people, hey, look, this is a legit investigation. We're not faking nothing. What you see is what you get.
Right. No, I agree. I mean, I could go into a whole thing about fakers. So,
Yeah, so can I. And I mean, especially with like me being related to the Warrens, I hear it all the time. So, because you know how they get trashed, they're not even living anymore, and they get trashed every day that they faked a bunch of stuff and they're liars and all kinds of stuff. So, yeah, I mean, I get it.
yeah, it's well, and that's sort of always going to be the double-edged sword when you are on a show or you are known or you have a certain status like that,
Hmm.
because people are either going to be jealous of that status, or they're going to start to try to nitpick everything, and they don't understand what things are really like. And yes, there is a different aspect sometimes, and like even with Ed and Lorraine, they not only lived the real stuff, but they also worked along with Hollywood to bring some stuff to the big screen, even though, yeah, it's not, going to be accurate. It's going to be Hollywood version,
Yeah,
of course. But I mean,
right.
I mean, it's just part of the nature of the business. So,
Yep. I mean, like everybody thinks that like the Conjuring movies are all real, and that's just what Hollywood fabricated most of it to what it is. I mean, like the Annabelle movies, Annabelle Comes Home is more of the closer version to the truth about them bringing Annabelle home.
right. Well, and I think for some people too, and even just Hollywood, the fact that they had to create a different Annabelle doll,
Hmm.
because if you're in if you're in the paranormal field and you know that dolls are possessed or have certain things, the Raggedy Ann version of Annabelle, the real version, is scary enough.
Yep.
And it's scary enough knowing, because we know what's behind it and everything, right? We know that inherent power that it seems to possess or contain. So, but Hollywood don't, they're just about visuals. They don't truly believe in a lot of stuff. A lot of them don't even believe in God. They don't
Right.
really have a belief system in that. They're just trying to, make money, make movies, and they know what sells. So for them, they're like, hey, let's create another doll that, that
Yep.
we think is creepy and scary. So that way, the people that it can appeal to a mass audience.
Right. Did you get to go in and see the Warrens Occult Museum at Rock Island last year?
Yeah, I went in with Natalie and Patty Negri. We all went in, hung out, and then came out, talked to Ryan from Paranormal State there for a little bit. And so it was a pretty good time. Saw Father Bob in there.
Oh yeah, I love Father Bob. He's awesome. He's actually one of my mentors. I study under him and Sister Farah for the demonology aspect of it
Yeah,
because we deal with a lot of that darker stuff too, and but that's even like another thing that changed the field. Everything with a lot of these investigators is everything is a demon.
Well, I mean, the funny thing is, like, look, I've been investigating for almost 3 decades, and I really can't even think of a time when I actually confirmed a place had a demon. I think there may have been a few places that could have, but it wasn't the type. It wasn't like, oh my god, this demon is going to possess me and like all this
Right.
other stuff. But again, it's something that I find extremely rare.
Yep.
So that's why I think since we kind of are talking a little bit into that, that's why like when I see all these shows, when it's like I'm out there, doing this for that long, but then when I see other people that just got into the field, or maybe they've only been doing it for 5 or 10 years, and then they do a show, but it seems like all of a sudden their show, they got like cupboards slamming, they're capturing like doors flying open and slamming like every time. There's a demon almost every time. It's like there's just way too many things that happen on way too much of a frequency to the same people.
Yeah.
When I know the reality.
Yep.
I know the reality, unless somehow they're getting extremely lucky,
Right.
and I just happen to be missing all the good stuff.
Right.
So,
I hear you. I mean, you see it all the time where when they put their little ads up for their videos and, oh, I was attacked by this demon last night, or a demon almost killed me.
yeah.
I crack up every time I see it because I'm like, you don't know what a demon is until you actually experience it and feel it.
Yeah.
And then what are you going to do?
And I think too, sometimes there's going to be a little bit of philosophical battle between people on what exactly is a demon. Some people believe everything some people believe that everything past the veil is a demon, that there is no earthly
Right.
human spirits. Like all those go on to judgment or up to the next step, and the only things past the veil are evil spirits.
Yep.
And people have that opinion, and they have that right to have that opinion. I honestly can't say I would argue with them on it, but at the same time, I know just again, you kind of get a sense of like patterns over 20, 30 years. You kind of get the same kind of thing happen, and you can tell the difference. And it seems like, yes, there is human spirits that we interact with and things like that. So I don't personally believe it's just all evil spirits. I think there is evil spirits on the other side.
Right. And many of your religions are like that too. They believe that everything is all demonic. There's no such thing as ghosts. Yeah. And they preach that everything's demonic. And some Catholic religions, Baptist religions are all like that as well. And I tell them I beg to differ with you, because I mean, what are we're not capturing demons on cameras. I mean,
yeah, I mean, and I think that that belief, like I was telling you, that crosses like the evil spirits, there's nothing but evil spirits on the other side, that does stem mostly from religion. And that's why I said that people have that right if they want to believe that. It's completely on them. So I think sometimes you could get some people that, like an investigator, maybe they grew up religious, and maybe their view is that everything is an evil spirit and demon. And so when they're doing their show, it's always a demon that they're experiencing. I mean, I don't know. I personally think it's just more dramatics, that they're just doing the dramatics. That's just my opinion.
Oh, I mean, I agree with you. I mean, if there is a demon case, it's like maybe 1 or 2 out of 100 cases you do, because it is so rare. I mean, from what I've learned over the years, they're just opportunists. They lay and they wait. And that's why you never really encounter them very much until they choose when they want to do it and what they want to do.
Right. Oh, yeah. And see, highly paranormal said power perceived is power achieved.
Right.
And then that's the thing, and if people present that, and then they're a lot of times they reap the rewards of it. Unfortunately,
Right.
a lot of fakers end up getting a lot of subscribers, followers. They start getting monetized on things. They're making money. They're doing, and they have a whole fan base of people that are following them based off of lies. And
Right.
but I do think karma comes back around for a lot of these guys. I've seen it a few times already.
It does, and it's one of those types of things. You play with fire, you're going to get burnt. Type
Yeah,
of
unless you have your fire on a TV like mine.
thing. Right. I mean, there's that certain one show. I don't mention his name, but he likes to play with that darker stuff, and he wonders why he's got all these medical issues going on with him.
Yeah. Well, and I've noticed even just other investigators that when they sort of thumb their nose at paranormal,
Yep.
and then all of a sudden I see them, doing they'll do like some kind of blog later on or a vlog later on. They're doing like this video where they're just like, well, guys, I'm gonna have to take a break for a little bit. The personal life's not doing so good, and I'm not doing very good health wise. I need to work on myself for a little bit. Well, it's like I wonder why, because you've done thumbs
Yep.
your nose at the paranormal world, and of course the karma's coming back around, all the spiritual baggage and everything else. So perhaps you should learn how to spiritually maintain yourself.
Yep. And that's what ruins a lot of good locations too, is people like that. They get in there and then they start doing that stuff, and then they make it bad for the rest of us that actually want to go out and document and research, and then we're the ones that are getting told no because them people already ruined it for us.
Yeah. I know, right? Like, you almost wish that, you'd have to somehow have a license or something to go out there and be like, look, you have to be licensed, which means you have to pass a minimum competency test on X, Y, and Z or something.
Right. And that's what a lot of these locations should do, is start screening people before letting them in and doing stuff like that. I mean,
But that's unrealistic, unfortunately, though.
But a lot of them don't obey the rules, and they start bringing stuff in they're not supposed to be bringing in, and doing stuff in the location, and then they wonder why they get thrown out, or they go in there and they disrespect the location and trash it, and then leave the owners there holding the bag with all the mess that they left.
Oh yeah, no, I get it. I understand. It's the world. The world of paranormal can get a little messy when it's not a regulated industry.
Yeah.
It's a pseudoscience based industry, so to speak. People have so many facts not really facts, but so many opinions, and there is no real true facts. I mean, I could sit here and tell you till I'm blue in the face, like, over the last 30 years I've been doing this. Here's what I think, and blah blah blah. But like, I might die and go to the other side, and I might be way off.
Right.
Like, what the hell?
Right.
So, I mean, that's why I always try to be as open minded to people. And I always try to, even like, if I go to a convention and I speak or something, I will tell people like, hey, I could be wrong, or there could be things. Just always be open minded and keep things with a grain of salt. Take things with a grain of salt, so to speak.
Yep.
Because again, you just never know. And if you just get locked in that mentality and you think well, you're going to get humbled real soon.
Oh yeah. And it's like Highly Paranormal just said, they do it for clicks and likes and money, and some of us do it for the adventures.
Yeah. Well, that's true.
Yep.
I was trying to see.
I mean, like us, we do it. We don't charge a dime. We do it for the history, to help people, to educate, and that's why we do it. We're not just because we're family of the Warrens. We're nothing. We're not out to be famous. We're not out for any of that. And we had a question for you.
Question for me. Okay.
Have you had any type of investigations where you hear someone talking or talking to you?
Have I had any type of investigations where you hear someone talking or talking to you? Yeah, I mean, for sure. You know, like there's a lot of investigations where I will, or other investigators, it'll happen in a couple ways. Either you'll literally hear them as if, it was just like, in fact, not that long ago, I was investigating a place, and I heard like a father and daughter like talking outside the church, and I thought to myself, what the heck, um, like what the hell? I was like, I thought maybe, because I'm out in the country and there's really nobody around. You can kind of hear if people come up or something, and but I was thinking like, there's no way, like a father and a daughter this time of night, But it sounded like they were right outside the church. And the thing is a lot of times you can't always make out what they say. Sometimes you'll hear something and you'll believe something was said something like, you might hear somebody say like, "Hey, what are you doing?" or something, and I'm like, "Who said that?" Hey, they said, "Hey, what are you doing?" So you'll hear it, and then of course you capture a lot on audio too, EVPs. Capture a lot, and that's another form of them talking to you, and you just don't hear it, because they're in the white noise, and then the recorder picks it up in the white noise.
Like last night during our Estes method, we had two spirits arguing over the box. It was a male and a female arguing back and forth. She was calling him a monster, and I'm trying to protect him, and all kinds of stuff. And it sounded just like a whole argument going on.
I also I queued up a video if you wanted to show my car to people.
All right.
Yeah, there's my car.
Oh, nice.
Teps 1.
That's pretty cool.
There you go.
That is pretty neat.
You could say I'm pretty serious about investigating.
Right. And a Ghostbusters fan.
Yeah, I mean, I always wanted an Ecto one, but I mean, the thing is like with the Ecto one, that's pretty pricey. But I just happened to get a white Subaru Outback recently, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna do it up.
Jeanette asks, have you been on an investigation that made you sick?
Not often. Not often. There's probably only been a few, maybe 3 or 4 times in a couple decades where I felt nauseous, and that's usually indications of, certain negative spirits, but it doesn't have to be there. You can get nauseous for other reasons. So I try not to always just say it's paranormal. Especially back in the days when I wasn't eating very good, and used to go out to eat before the investigations and stuff. So right. A lot of times it's pretty quick food, so who knows? But yeah, like I would always tell people, like, if you are out on an investigation and you do get sick, just again, step outside the location, see if that improves things. If you can go outside and things get better, maybe that fresh air, and then you go back in, you start getting sick again, then you could be affected. But you also have to look at, is there something with the house itself? Is there
Yep.
is there mildew, mold, things like that. So just be mindful of those things and try not to just jump right to like, oh no, it's a demon affected me.
Right. Even EMF will make you nauseous. High EMF fields will.
And as far as the inside of the car, it looks like a normal Subaru. In fact, right now, actually, the top. So I made that top rack, that top rack of all the Ghostbuster stuff actually can be removed, and in fact, it is removed right now. It's removed for the winter. I had it up through the fall during Halloween season. Of course, the vinyl stickers, and on the back of the back windshield is an advertisement for my TV show and all that. But that stays on all the time. But the top equipment does come off, and then on the inside, though, the only difference on the inside is I have a small little control panel. I have a few little control things. One is I have a control that allows me to operate the lights, and then I have another controls that have 4 different custom horns. So I actually have the ecto siren.
Oh, nice.
So, and like I usually have like either a short one, like a just a one little hit.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have one that's a little longer, and then I have a couple like sections of the music. And so like if I'm in parking lots during, I'm driving around and I see some kids or people, and a lot of times even obviously, Gen Xers or, even millennials and boomers, when they see it, they're like, if they smile, I'll hit the little horn for them, and so it brightens up a lot of people's days. So that's the one thing I do like about it.
Oh, nice. Are you going to have it at Kent's Paracon this year?
I did last year. I probably will. I'm probably going to try to ride with it, once I get to like springtime or something. So have I ever taken an attachment home? A lot. Now, I would say this happened a lot more in the early days. Part of your journey when you're in doing paranormal investigation is a lot of times not many people have the luxury of being told how to control or how to manage your spiritual side. So unfortunately, it's like, oh, you just go and you just start investigating and doing stuff like many people. They'll do a team. They don't even think about the consequences, and they just think about the fun and all the other stuff. And they don't realize that there's a back end to it where you bring spiritual baggage home. So, and so in the beginning years, yeah, it would get like my homes would get so bad. One time, when I was when I was married before, and it got so bad that like we had to move because we didn't even know how to like clear our own house back then. So we ended up moving, and some of it came with us, but not a lot of it actually stayed at the other place, thank God. And I think that was just pure luck.
Right.
Unless they didn't like our new house, but yeah, like it can happen. And when you know what happens when you start getting paranormal activity in your own home. Now I have a whole different setup, and I don't even allow spirits to come home with me. And just in case, I've got to the point now where I can control and block spirits mentally now, where I don't even have to hardly think about it. But if I forget, I also have my crystal that is programmed that I maintain. I wear all the time, when I'm out doing stuff. And that helps to block anything from attaching to me.
Especially you got a good teacher there with Patty Negri, so.
Well, she's pretty cool. I haven't had a chance to really, I only got to hang out with her much at Rock Island, so that was like our first chance to finally hang out because I've been at Paraflix since the beginning of Paraflix. And so, but I hadn't been able to. Rock Island was the first time I actually got to hang out with Natalie and Patty for the first time in like 4 or 5 years
Mm.
or whatever. So it was pretty cool.
I didn't get to hang out much because my booth was just so mobbed downstairs. I couldn't even. I tried to go out and get something to eat, and as fast as I'm getting ready to go out and get something to eat, my booth was just mobbed.
Yeah, there was a lot of traffic, and luckily I did have a helper there with me. So I had a helper from another team that was there to help and just monitor my booth. Like if I did want to walk and stretch my legs or something. But
Right.
there was so much traffic, I almost didn't want to leave most of the time. In fact, when me and Patty and Natalie hung out and went and did, went and checked out Annabelle and all that and talked to Ryan, that was later on in the evening when things were finally, quieted down.
Right.
And, it was like toward the very end, right before the public investigation.
Yeah, I mean, Nesper was sending people down to us. They said, we got family downstairs. Make sure you get down there. So I'm like, I need to go get something to eat for my dad and I. And as fast as I'm trying to go, people are just on us like crazy.
I'm definitely taking a battery operated fan next year.
Yeah, it was hot. Even down in the basement, you figure it'd be cooler down there. It wasn't. It was hot down there.
Yeah, I made a trek down there to visit, Kent and everybody down there. And I was like, God dang, it's still hot down here.
I was giving Kent static. People were stopping by his booth and he wasn't there. He was too busy wandering around.
Kent, if you're watching, quit wandering. He's a wanderer. He does that like investigations, his like all of his events. He's a wanderer. I think sometimes he's such a big fan of things that he also, even though he's supposed to be like doing things, running his booth, running a Paracon, but he's such a big fan of things. He's like enjoying them too, like wandering off doing things. So it's pretty funny.
He didn't wander too bad last night because him and I investigated together with my dad and his two sons, and so he stayed pretty much on track because he's the one that went under Estes for a while, and
yeah,
so.
Yeah, no, he kind of sat still for a little bit there, but yeah. See, I got Soulfire in the chat. That's my other partner in Soulfire because that's my new project, my new team, Soulfire Paranormal.
Oh, nice.
So we can talk about that, I guess, at the end. But yeah, that's Jen.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, I see they already sent out the stuff for Rock Island already this year.
Yeah, I'm going, I guess. I mean, they asked me if I wanted to come back. Now I told them I would speak or whatever, but I don't know what's going to happen with that or anything.
Right.
But I know they're always so busy. But Candy and them, they're a good bunch of people. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, we got asked to come back again this year too.
You gonna go?
We're talking about it. We're also booked for another one the weekend after too, so we're trying to work that in to go from Illinois and then all the way over to Indiana.
Yeah. Well, that was the rough thing about that one was Rock Island was like before that I had, the Kentucky, West Kentucky.
Yeah.
Kent. So I had his, and that was a big drive. It was like a 6-hour drive from mine. It was like 6 hours, I think. And then I was there for a few days and then drove back. And then the following weekend I had to drive to Illinois. It was like 12 and a half hour drive. Right. And on top of that, I had the stuff on the roof rack on my car. So my gas mileage went down some too. So doing a 13-hour trip with less gas mileage.
And we're scheduled to be at Kent's this year also.
Yeah, I'm supposed to host it. Hopefully he remembered because, we keep talking about things and he keeps, but I'm supposed to be hosting it.
As a matter of fact, he mentioned it last night.
Yeah.
About you hosting it. So I don't think you forgot. So.
Yeah, I know. I just like to mess with them.
And then he's supposed to be doing another one here in the spring at the Glen House, a mini one. We're supposed to be at that one too.
Yeah, a little mini event.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know what all I'm going to be doing this year. I don't have a lot of major things set in stone because this is a weird year for me. This is going to be a transition year for going from Teps Investigates to Soulfire Paranormal, and then also um, doing more podcast based this year. I'm actually kind of pulling. I'm going to be pulling back from filming any shows a little bit, just until we get things going more in a different certain direction. But right now, we fired up a new podcast this year, and then and I think I'm only going to do a few Paracons, and I'm also focusing on some technical aspects, some ghost gear and things like that I'm working on this year.
Oh, nice. Did you want to go an hour tonight, or we can do 2 hours?
Oh well, I planned for an hour because
Okay, that's fine.
I trust me, I could talk for a couple hours, but I planned for an hour.
All right.
Only because today, I'll tell you what, man, this has been one heck of a weekend for. I've been having to get so much stuff done, but I've been gone for the last. I mean, ever since the Halloween season, and then working with Jen and being with Jen and Soulfire, I have been like gone from my house almost every weekend. And so when I'm home, like when I finally have a weekend, there's like so much stuff I'm neglecting. I'm
Right.
like, oh my God. There was like stuff growing in my refrigerator. I had to like, chisel stuff out and like work thing. I had to like, I've been having to really do some catch up, and now it's Sunday night and I'm almost out of time. I've got to go back to work. So
Yeah, that's me too. I got to work in the morning. I work at a school, but I usually work nights, but we got no school tomorrow, so us night shift come in during the day.
nice. Yeah, I generally work. I work two jobs through the week, like my Monday through Friday. In the daytime, I'm an internet repair tech, and then I also at night do some hospital courier stuff, where I go to the labs and deliver some stuff. And
Mhm.
that's like 16 hours a week. It's not too hard. It's pretty good money. So, all right, Jeanette says, what case affected you still to this day that you learned a lot from? What case that affected me that I learned a lot from? I would say, oh man, what stands out in my head? There's so many. There's so many things that you learn along the way. Um, I would say, Jeanette, that I would just say that I don't know if there's one single one that affects me or stood out. I think it's a combination of certain ones. You learn certain lessons at certain places, um, and for that they stick out to you. And as far as maybe post effects, um, I guess one that does leave a little bit of a lingering thing is recently I was doing a dowsing rod session, and while holding the dowsing rods, I got shocked.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, to the point where literally it felt like I stuck the end of the dowsing rod in a light socket. And I dropped the rod and everything. And I've in my 30 years, I've never done that. Of course, I only started using dowsing rods about 4 or 5 years ago, but I've never have had that happen. And so, that still lingers in the back of my mind now. Only because it was something recently, and it's one of those, like, every time you think you know it all, or every time you think you've experienced all the different things, it just goes to show you there's always something new to
Yep.
learn. So
That's
yeah, Jen was there too. We actually have it. I'm probably going to be uploading it onto Teps Investigate. It was kind of one of the last like Teps side quests that I filmed, and so it was just something that me and Jen. It wasn't like an official planned out investigation. It was more like toward the last minute, and I'm just like, and I just was like, hey, and me and Jen, was just trying to investigate together. So it was like, I was like, hey, let's go here, and so it was kind of a last minute thing, and so we didn't film for like a show. Oh, excuse me. We didn't film for a show or for anything specific. We just went and filmed, just with like me holding the camera, and we just went and did some experiments, and then that happened. So we're I think we got some. I don't remember if Jen. I think Jen's got some clips that she's going to be putting out, like some short clips that
Mm-hmm.
you'll see, but the actual full episode will probably be on Teps Investigates, and then further shows and everything I do from this point forward is going to start being under the Soulfire Paranormal brand.
And that'll still be listed on Paraflix.
Well, I don't know yet. I'm still finishing up some of the Paraflix stuff for season 2 of Teps, and once I finish that up, then we may. Once I guess it really depends on Soulfire and Paraflix. Like if we start filming like a show, because we have talked about the format that we want to film, but we got to do other things for a little bit this coming up year, this transition year. But once we get to that point, then we may reach out to Paraflix family again and say, hey, do you like it or not?
Right.
And they usually like what I do. I mean, because I didn't start out doing just Teps. I start out with Pair Explorers first with them, and then I did some short films with them and stuff. So I love Paraflix. They're a family to me. So I always tell people, hey, Paraflix is great.
Yeah, I got to meet Natalie for the first time. I mean, I always share their stuff out, and I never got to meet her until Rock Island when she come downstairs.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I mean that's the great thing I love about them is that they were founded by ghost hunters or by people in the paranormal. It
Mm-hmm.
wasn't just somebody that there wasn't some business guy or gal that just said, you know, I'm going to start a platform and it's going to be like Netflix, but it's going to be paranormal and I'm just going to make money. And then they treat it a certain way. I think at least with Natalie and them, they understand because they live it.
Yeah.
So they understand everything. They're just very chill people, and so it just makes you where you just want to keep working with them and keep doing things for them.
Right. And that's what makes a solid network is when they're actually experienced enough and actually experienced this stuff to actually produce good content and TV shows like they do.
Yeah, well, that's like the funny thing is because, um, so yeah, I'll definitely answer that question here in a second. But just to finish up my thought on Paraflix though, it's so funny because I had this when I submitted the episode on the Kelly farm. So it's like season 1 for Teps Investigate is season 1 episode 3. It's the one called Kelly Farm in the title. Well, we caught an EVP that was so loud and clear that it literally sounded like somebody laughed into the microphone like close
Oh, wow.
but it was such a thing that even Natalie, like, she emailed me back after I submitted they reviewed the episode, that she was like, and you could tell she didn't know how to like approach it. She was just like, I know you don't really like fake your content, so like I'm kind of curious about this EVP thing because it sounds a little odd. That's how crazy that EVP was. She thought that it could be fake, and so
Right.
I was like, no, that is like honest to God real. And not only did I catch it on the camera audio, but I also caught it on the audio recorder that was on the mantle. So it was caught on two devices, two
Mm.
separate devices. And so she was, but that's the thing about when you're a CEO of a company, but you also are paranormal.
Yeah.
It's like she can kind of be like, well, wait a minute, like something seems off here. Well, in this case, it wasn't off. It was just an amazing EVP. So what we did was she was like, hey, you should do like a behind the scenes video. And so I actually filmed a behind the scenes video where it was like kind of like almost like one take. Once I pulled up,
Mm-hmm.
kind of showed the raw files on the actual device but I actually went in and showed all the raw audio files, just to show people.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and then that's on my YouTube channel as well. You can check it out. It's like a 12. It was just called like Unbelievable EVP, and it's like 12 or 13 minutes long or something like that.
Yep. And then
Yeah, the question, Jeanette. So do you believe rivers, lakes, things like that help to transfer paranormal activity? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I know they say like water and running water. What you have to keep in mind in what I think that one is if you look at waterfalls and moving water, they generate what's called negative ions. Okay. Negative ions are actually the good ones. A lot of times we associate negative with bad. Positive ions are things that can make you sick. So if there's enough indoor pollution, which it would take like a heavy amount, but if you had way too many positive ions in a situation, you could experience sicknesses and things like that. So, do these negative ions, do they help the paranormal? I'm not sure because there is ion generators out there. People have been running those to see if they can increase the paranormal activity. I don't know if it has truly helped or not. I know it also creates ozone when you do that, and that's not always good. So, all right, and then what is it? The second Buddha. Do you guys think that the cognitive model you help develop or that you develop with empty intuition comes before the actual human body? The focal point branches off other submodals to create an abstraction, in my opinion. I mean, yeah, you could think that.
yeah.
I mean, it depends. It depends because I would agree to a point, but yeah, I would say I probably agree to a point with that. Focal point branches off other submodals to create an abstraction mechanism.
Yeah, that's a pretty interesting question.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, almost too deep for me, man.
Yeah.
I'm a simple ghost hunter, brother. But I do believe in intuition, and I think I think there can be influences in intuition. I think we can also have preconceived notions. I think there's a lot you can go into it. Um, Honestly, I would recommend if you are really into that level of your intuition or foresight or even remote viewing type stuff, I would recommend you look up Stacy Talich. Um, he's full of information. He's on Udemy or Udemy. He's got amazing courses, but he's also on our Paranormal Council every Thursday. Also, how far back do you have to go to reach fully true intuition? Empty intuition. I don't know. How far would you have to go back? I wonder. I mean,
Yeah.
can you? Can you? Can you?
Right.
Can you reach empty intuition?
Yeah, that's it. That's another interesting question. Can you?
Yeah.
Something to something to ponder about. Really get your mind really working.
Yeah. The only thing I try to do is train my intuition to understand what's going on around me. Like when I walk into places, I over the years, like I just try to feel things, understand things, and then I always take notes mentally. Or when I go back and I do evidence review, I will say, uh, you know, this happened here. So Buddha's responding to so far saying you have to create a center point. It can be anything, but you have to practice your awareness as a home base. Mine was the spine, breath, or central visual field. I really don't try to focus on any. I don't focus myself or center myself. I Now sometimes I try to control my energies by taking a deep breath, relaxing sometimes, but I generally don't get into that in depth of meditation, so to speak.
Yeah, I don't. I
So
don't either. I'm the same way.
yeah, it's more of something where I've trained my intuition to work no matter what. The only time when my intuition starts really getting bad is when I don't use it.
Right.
It's like if I go long periods of not investigating or not doing anything paranormal or not using my intuition, then
Hmm.
that's when I have problems.
Yep. That's when you get the paranormal withdrawals.
But there's some people, probably like Second Buddha and stuff, and even Jen, they get very spiritual side of things. Like they really can get into certain focuses, meditations, certain things, um, just naturally or by consciously doing something. Uh, I don't know. So I'm just a simple one.
Right. I mean, yeah. I mean, that's good for especially for your spirit inside of you to cleanse that and do the meditation, the comment, especially if you got stuff going on in your life and stuff.
Oh yeah. Well, and like I said, I just like to show up. My intuition helps me when I show up to an investigation to kind of guide me through the investigation to kind of know, is there something wrong here? Is there something not right? Is there something negative? Is there something positive? Because a lot of times people get negative and positive wrong. Um, there's a lot of spirits that like people when you show up and people are like, "Oh, I've been scratched and punched,
Hmm.
shoved." It doesn't always mean it's negative. Um, I can't tell you how many times that after I've made contact with the spirits in the home or at the location, they're really not negative. It's just some spirits don't know how to communicate, and if they scratch you, I don't think they mean it. Sometimes it's just it's like when you don't have a physical body anymore.
Yeah.
You have to learn how to do things with energy and stuff. And so they scratch you or kind of cause like a punching or a pushing or something. Doesn't always mean it's negative,
Right. And
but
that's also like with a lot of residential. If it was a former owner of the house, you're trespassing in their domain. To them, that is still their house. That's still their property. And to them, you're a trespasser. You're a burglar to them. And it's just like the same scenario if you were alive that a burglar breaks into your house. What are you going to want to do? You're going to want to protect your property and your family. So that's another reason, too, probably why they hit you and scratch you because you're trespassing in their space and they don't like it. Or you go in and you start changing their house around what they're used to.
yeah, I mean, possibly, and that's what I'm saying. That's why it's called an investigation, right?
Yep. Yep.
So a lot of people just make assumptions and they just assume, oh man, this ghost is doing this, doing this. It's like it's bad. Well, there could be a logical explanation for it.
And that's like our investigation last night at the Glen House. Kent was under Estes. We were having a good conversation, and the other team had walked in downstairs, and they were being a little bit loud, and all of a sudden the spirit just changed his whole demeanor to being downright nasty and angry. And we interpreted it like that he didn't like all of us at one time being in that spot.
Right. Yeah.
And so that would be a good example of it too. And he was just not having it. He was threatening the harm to the box and everything.
Right.
And then when we did another Estes later on, and the lead investigator for Bluff City Paranormal, he was asking questions, and it was getting downright angry with him asking questions. And his girlfriend is pregnant, and it knew about her baby last night, and they come across the box, and then excitingly one come across and says, "She's having a baby?"
Right. Well, and a lot of people don't always realize that spirits have, you know, they have a lot more of an understanding through that spiritual network than we can understand.
Yep. Yeah, I agree with Soulfire there on that.
Yeah, Soulfire, scientific method derived data versus confirmation bias.
Yep.
Yeah, and for sure, I agree.
Well, we hit our hour mark. I know you got to work in the morning. I got to work in the morning. So if people want to get a hold of you, we'll definitely do a part 2.
Yeah, we'll come together for another part 2. Maybe we can get Jen on here too.
Yeah, definitely. I'd love to have her on.
But yeah,
if they want to get a hold of you and contact you for investigations, conventions, or events, how can they get a hold of you?
Okay, so you can reach me 2 ways. You can either right now, like if you go to any of the like Teps Investigates on YouTube, if you go to Soulfire Paranormal on YouTube, also on Facebook, we have Soulfire. We have now on Facebook. I know a lot of stuff I post is under my name, like Josh Morris. But a lot of that's all connected. And then if you see like the Everything Paranormal Show, that's still stuff connected to me because that was my old podcast. And you can reach me every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern, live doing the Paranormal Council.
All right. And if you want to hang backstage for a minute, I'm going to close the show out, and I'll be right back with you. And I thank you for being on the show tonight, and look forward to your stuff coming out in the paranormal, and maybe seeing you at Kent's Paracon and Rock Island.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. I'll see you in a minute.
See ya, everybody. Seek the truth.
All right, guys, thank you for joining me tonight. Remember, if you're being bullied in the paranormal field, you do have a voice. Nobody's better than anybody in this field. We're all after the same common goal: prove the existence of life after death. With that being said, we will be back on our regular schedule Saturday night next weekend, and I am working on a guest. It may be Kent Wilson from Ken 10 Paranormal. We were talking last night about it, so he may be my guest next week. So with that being said, God bless everybody. Stay safe out there, and we will see you all next week. Same time, same channel. Have a good night, everyone.